All right, today we're going on a pretty incredible journey. We're going to follow one single massive piece of wood as it gets transformed from a raw slab of timber into a really stunning redwood sofa. And trust me, this isn't just about building furniture. It's a story of patience, incredible precision, and pure craftsmanship. So that's the real question here, isn't it? How do you take something so, well, wild and raw and turn it into something so refined and beautiful? You see, this whole process isn't just about construction. It's really about revealing a hidden form, about telling a story that's been locked inside that wood for decades, maybe even centuries. You know, every great story needs a hero, and in this one, our hero is the wood itself. The journey begins long before a single tool is ever picked up. It all starts with choosing the absolute perfect piece of timber, one with real character, strength, and a ton of hidden potential. So why redwood? I mean, what's so special about it? Well, it's not just about that beautiful, deep, warm reddish color. Redwood's grain is incredibly straight, which makes it really stable and predictable to work with. And, maybe the most important part, it has these natural oils that make it resistant to moisture and insects. This is a legendary wood, a symbol of longevity. So when you choose redwood, you're not just making a piece of art, you're building an heirloom, something that's truly designed to last. Okay, so we've got our hero, the wood. Now we move into the next phase, the initial shaping. This is where the raw power of machinery meets the raw potential of the wood. It's a huge and frankly a pretty dramatic first step in taming this giant. And just to give you an idea of what we're dealing with, this whole journey begins with a single slab of redwood that weighs right around 400 pounds. That's like the weight of 2 full-grown adults. Just moving and handling this thing requires not just brute strength, but a really careful, thought-out strategy. This is where the transformation becomes a full sensory experience. I mean, you can almost hear it, right? That high-pitched scream of a thickness planer as it shaves off those rough outer layers, or the deep growl of a saw making those first precise cuts. With every single pass, you're removing that weathered exterior and slowly revealing the clean, vibrant wood that's been hiding underneath. So from that massive, kinda irregular slab, the goal is to create these perfectly flat, totally uniform boards. For this project, they're milled down to a final thickness of exactly 1 3/4 inches. And this isn't just about making the wood smaller, it's about making it perfect. This step is the absolute foundation for everything else that's going to happen. All right, so you've got this perfect lumber. Now the big question is, how do you connect it all? Sure, you could use screws or nails, but for real artistry, you have to turn to the ancient craft of joinery. This is where the true skill of a woodworker really shines. So why go through all the trouble of cutting these complex joints by hand? Well, because a well-made wood joint creates a mechanical lock. The pieces literally become one single integrated structure, sharing all the strength and stress. A screw, on the other hand, it's just a fastener holding 2 separate things together. It's really the difference between lasting integrity and just, simple convenience. And this really gets to the heart of the philosophy behind it. There's an honesty to traditional joinery. It's a connection that doesn't try to hide anything. It's both functional and beautiful, a testament to the maker's skill and their deep dedication to creating something that's going to endure for generations. Let's take the classic mortise and tenon joint, for example. It's been a cornerstone of furniture making for literally thousands of years. It looks complicated, but it really boils down to these 4 basic steps. First, you carefully mark and cut a square hole, that's the mortise, in one piece. Then you cut a matching peg, the tenon, on the end of the other piece. And the magic? Well, the magic is all in the fit. It should slide together with just firm hand pressure, creating this incredibly strong and really elegant union. Okay, this is where it gets really exciting. Now that all the individual pieces have been perfectly cut and shaped, and all the joinery is dialed in, it's time for the best part of the process. This is where all those flat, 2-dimensional pieces start to become a 3-dimensional object, and the vision for the sofa truly comes to life. It really is like watching a beautiful, complex puzzle come together. It happens piece by piece. First, the mortise and tenon joints of the legs get glued and clamped to the main frame. Then the backrest is carefully fitted right into its designated slots, and finally the arms are secured. With each step, the abstract idea takes on a physical, recognizable shape. The skeleton of the sofa is born. So the sofa is built, the structure is totally sound, but the journey isn't over yet. Not even close. This final stage is arguably what separates good woodworking from great woodworking. We're talking about the finishing process, which transforms the surface of the wood from just being smooth to something that feels like silk and seems to glow with an inner light. You see, a truly beautiful finish is never rushed. It's a patient, deliberate process that unfolds over several days. On day one, the first coat of oil soaks deep into the wood, making the grain just pop. After that dries, the surface gets a very light sanding to make it even smoother. Then another coat goes on. This layering is what builds up the depth and protection, and it all ends with a final buffing that creates that signature luster. And the result? Wow, it's just breathtaking. It's the kind of finish you can't help but reach out and touch. The light just plays across the surface, revealing all the complexity and depth of the redwood's grain. The color is so rich and vibrant. This is the moment the wood's full beauty is finally and completely revealed. And there you have it, from a 400-pound slab of raw timber, through screaming saws and meticulous, detailed handwork, to a final, gleaming piece of furniture. It's a piece of the natural world, shaped by human hands, skill, and a whole lot of patience, into something both beautiful and useful, an object that's going to be part of a home for a lifetime. And that brings me to one last thought. Just look around you for a second, at the chairs, tables, and all the objects that fill your life. What story do they tell? Are they just products of speed and convenience, or do they speak of skill, of patience, and a real connection to the material they're made from? It's a question worth thinking about,